Legion Standard Recording Date 022659, Monday, 6:55 a.m. As of 0600 this morning, I have been informed that my new duty is to gather all relevant information to the Legion and store it. I don't know why. I have also been informed that I no longer have a name of my own. I am the Archivist. I am a member of the evil supervillain mastermind organization known only as Legion. 9:33 a.m. Today, 3 members of the Stolen Strain Zoologicals and Practical Uses for Exotic Creatures Labs were involved in a kerfuffle ending with the unsupervised release of what can only be described as a skunkopotamus, which has in the aftermath taken a small section inside the second portcullis of the main gate as a roost. None of the scientists were brave enough to try and stop it, and it seems to be providing no deterrent to daily affairs. 11:14 a.m. 2 men, dressed oddly but only by Legion standards, approached the island in a small boat claiming to be on a mission of peace. Not wanting anything to do with that, the order was given to release the Kraken. We are confident this will be a lesson to future do-gooders, although we are now short 1 Kraken. Expense reports will be issued in kind. 3 p.m. The great-grandfather clock in the main entryway has spontaneously become self-aware, grown arms, and learned to play the ukulele. Scientists quickly picked up the clock and took it to one of the lesser-used labs, replacing it with a nearly identical clock who had more of a fondness for the kazoo. 3:08 p.m. All kazoos in the Legion were found and destroyed. 4:15 p.m. Remember those legends where fairies steal human children and leave behind their own children, like magical cowbirds? Think of that, except instead of our own children, we leave behind a gift card of perceived equal value to the child. For that one, we'll give a $20 gift card to the Gap. This one, $5 to Starbucks, where you can buy most of a single cup of coffee. The Supreme Overlord wishes to make it clear that he will not eat your baby. He doesn't care how well you processed it, or the long, painful labor you went through to create it for him. He will not eat it. Tuesday, 7:15 a.m. In an effort to reduce waste, our Supreme Overlord has decreed that all garbage disposal services are hereby repurposed. Former waste is now designated as pre-fossilized archives, and thus the minions have begun collecting it in the hope it will appreciate in value over time, when some bright young archaeologist discovers it and claims that the Oreos wrapper is the find of the century. Much less waste has been reported by the labs, and thus it has given the Legion the opportunity to downsize the janitorial staff. After all, waste is a terrible thing to mind. 9:09 a.m. News broadcasts followed up on the story that the giant pandas kept in captivity continue to refuse to mate. But in fact, they are sleeper agents who are trained to lie in wait and appear cute until a Democratic nominee was placed, and then all other nominees are found and eliminated with cuddliness and murder. Further information in document number 663841. 11:22 a.m. The staff has been asked to not give gifts to the mutated wildlife in the area, especially weapons. They don't like it. Stop it. You do not have the right to keep armed bears. 1:15 p.m. A black hole opened in the sub-basement of Section 226 Delta, roughly the size of a golden retriever. It asked 4 people for directions to the nearest casino before disappearing. 2:54 p.m. An interdepartmental feud occurred between the Warrior Robot Army Lab and the Supercomputer Hacking and Virus Delivery Lab. During this time, thousands of people died. Probably. Not due to the argument, just because that's how life works. 4:30 p.m. One entrepreneurial spirit in the Legion has opened an unauthorized veterinary clinic/taxidermy shop with the slogan, "Either way you get your pet back." Mixed results followed. 7:25 p.m. After nearly 18 months of testing and experimentation, the cloning and bioengineering labs came back, hat in hand, to report that despite their best efforts, they could not breed or otherwise engineer a kosher pig. Wednesday, 6:55 a.m. Plans for new propaganda posters are in the works for our friends in the United States. Some dispute remains on slogans, but popular models include "Feed the Dark Side," "See the World and Demolish Part of It with Doom Lasers," and, I have to admit, my personal favorite, How many minions does it take to fire a Doom laser? Apply below. 8:21 a.m. The Global Defense Brotherhood captain, self-proclaimed Sky Shark, met an untimely end when he was eaten by a legitimate sky shark released from the Strange Zoologicals lab earlier the same day. Reports claimed that it eats clouds, but apparently that does not stop it from playing with passing man-sized targets. This was left unreported because, and I quote, "How likely was that to come up?" The biodesigner in charge of the project was awarded a medal for taking on an enemy and doing the Legion proud, and then given 2 weeks paid leave as a sentence for not following procedure. When asked, he said he was going, quote, "to Disneyland," end quote. Unrelated news, an out-of-control ICBM detonated roughly 9 miles above the surface of south-central California. Eyewitnesses claim the cloud read out, "Let this be a warning." 12:19 p.m. Project Soft Thud has been reinitiated to Phase 6 after advancing to Phase 11 because Kevin spilled grape soda on the data sheets. Kevin is no longer allowed to have grape soda. He is lucky the project team allows him to eat at all. 3 p.m. It was announced that there is a department-wide chess tournament with the final contestant having the right to play against our Supreme Overlord. In an astounding turn of events, all contestants lost in the first round. 5:15 p.m. Following the incident last recruitment week, the Legion has enacted a new policy forbidding members from bringing back deceased sidekicks of the Brotherhood. Those who break this policy will be sent to the Brotherhood as volunteer sidekicks. Thursday, 7:12 a.m. 4 men from Venus appeared in the west wing of the second floor for 2.5 hours. They did not speak to anyone during this time and seem only to have stolen and consumed a single Snickers bar before disappearing. 8:30 a.m. A project to replace pencil erasers with an identical substance that instead makes all markings permanent in every sense of the word has been a resounding success. It has been a costly endeavor, but has been worth it when 20 million of them were freely delivered across the world during tax season. 10:15 a.m. Captain Your Name Here, the newest superhero of the Global Defense Brotherhood, broke into the facility somehow and was seen playing cards in the Minion cafeteria before being caught by more sensible minds and thrown off the island. We hope this doesn't become a pattern. 12 p.m. We've declared war on, achieved victory over, and helped rebuild France in about 9 hours. New world record. 2:42 p.m. The orbital defense laser misfired, destroying the HBO satellite. All work for the remainder of the day was paused to aid in the development of a new one with better broadcast quality. 6:44 p.m. A flotilla of U.S. naval vessels was destroyed in the South Sea for disturbing the mating rituals of local dolphins, which the fearless leader feels strongly about for some reason. 8 p.m. This year's gladiatorial events theme was liberal arts. Thousands of fresh graduates from schools across the world were shipped in to compete in the games. We want only the best, and our Supreme Overlord declared the best are those of a sharp mind and good sword arm, or a mediocre mind who are good at running away from lions. Victors were sorted by their skill set and put to work immediately after the games. Those with a talent for acting will be trained in the art of faking injuries and eyewitness accounts to perpetuate current and new suits against the Brotherhood, as well as training in being the most useless of damsels in distress. Several have shown promise as femme fatales, especially one student who defeated all of her opponents with a single pair of heels while wearing said heels. Creative writers have been sent out into the world, or locked into dark rooms with a good wireless connection, to crank out as many contradicting stories and accounts as possible surrounding the nature of the Legion and the Brotherhood, so the public remains confused but strongly divided on the matter. The more they fight each other, the less they fight us. And those who just seem to have a good understanding of their native language, or any standard version of a language, were to be placed as interns. Oh, wait, that part is scratched out. Were placed as department translators to work through the endless pages of chicken scratch our scientists produce. In response to several incidents over the past year, all translators will receive a complimentary barista training course. On a related note, which I am reading off of a sticky note attached to the report itself, Keurig is still a taboo word, and I will be receiving 20 lashes for violating this rule. Friday, 8:39 a.m. Vice Commander Thompson of the Theoretical Evil Division claims to have made a device in his sleep that appears to be a steel box with a big button on top. Nobody seems to know what the device does, but Thompson says that before he leaves the lab each day, he pushes the button just to be safe. 10:22 a.m. A survey team was assembled for the purpose of exploring the lower labs, from whom no person has ever returned. They were told the teams were just napping and to come back later with food. 11:56 a.m. At a recent recruitment drive, we had limited success as our area was infringing on the turf controlled by the Girl Scouts. A small debacle followed, and we won the moral high ground, but cookies were thrown, and we may never see Todd again. 1:11 p.m. The Legion is, at heart, a force for good and global domination. So, a project was designed to simulate what was wrong with the world and how to fix it, entitled Project Are You Serious?, which after a 5-year mission to explore strange new anomalies, found that the largest problem in the world is overpopulation. Specifically, people whose first name contains a hyphen, anyone who goes by a nickname that is not part of their original name, and anyone named Dudley. Sorry, Dudley, the world does not need you anymore. 2:45 p.m. The reanimation labs are once again open for business. The Legion will continue with the glorious endeavor to spread as much misery among the populace in the form of digitally editing over practical effects in classic movies. As an added bonus, when these films are re-released, no credit will be given to the original effects teams. This completes step 1 of 38 in our plan to supplant Cisco systems by destroying free bandwidth in public areas. 5:30 p.m. A device labeled the Rainbow Death Ray was unveiled as the work of Project Rainbow Death Ray, but has thus far only caused an irritating headache in people with brown hair. Firm offers have already been received from the Bayer Corporation. Saturday, 9:01 a.m. Our forces briefly took control of the country of Liechtenstein, but found it wasn't actually a benefit to the Legion and returned it. 12:12 p.m. Our Human Sciences Lab has confirmed that a person cannot eat more than 622 gumballs. I don't know why that's important to know, but there you go. 3:40 p.m. The Department of Strange Zoologicals and the Space Committee, Team Fisk colloquially, began a joint project today. The header of Team Fisk proposed a joint endeavor between the two divisions to harness the power of strange fauna for the Legion's various evil purposes. The proposal included, but was not limited to, electrocuting mice until they gain the ability to produce clean energy, harnessing ancient fossils to create mutant hybrids to fight for us, and stealing domestic pets from small children just to prove how dedicated we are. The Department of Strange Zoologicals agreed that all of these were good ideas, but had only one question. What does any of this have to do with space? The reply came, if you can't find a god, make a god. 5 p.m. In order to avoid favoritism or interdepartmental feuding, the position of firefighter has been privatized with a crew from outside Legion control. It's more expensive, and for some reason all of our surgical tubing and crops of specially formulated, highly addictive recreational drugs have been going missing, but we think it will be worth it in the long run. 6:34 p.m. An update from Sector 62 of our undisclosed facility in Nevada, a 2-mile-deep pit where we keep MIT grad students until we need them. Once a year, we throw down a theoretical thought experiment with promises of freedom to any who solve it. Well, it finally happened. They all died. Turns out you can't live entirely on smug self-satisfaction. Who knew? We certainly didn't. Not any of the 14 times we've attempted it. Maybe it's us. 7:53 p.m. The remainder of the sunken wreck of the Titanic rose to the surface of our whirlpool. It really surprised everyone who was in the spa at the time. Sunday, 5:21 a.m. While the remainder of the Legion had the day off, as they do every Sunday, an old man drove a train into the west wall. Nobody was hurt, but that was a hell of a thing to explain to the insurance adjusters. This concludes Archive 022659.
This has been a test of the Legion broadcast system. Please remain on the line. Instructions will be given to you in